Jake Paul will take on Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And, stylistically, I can't even break down Jake Paul's style. I mean, he's an improving fighter. He's someone that's completely dedicated himself to the sport. To me, he's a real guy in the division, but a lot of hardcore fight fans don't enjoy that Jake Paul is turning into one of the better prospects in boxing. They just flat out don't enjoy it. So, that being said, this fight is very simple for me. I think one thing about this fight is, okay, Chavez, pressure fighter, he fought traditionally at smaller weights, but he was a huge guy. So he'd come in at middleweight, but he'd really be about a cruiserweight where they're probably fighting on fight night, or maybe 175, big guy. Put a lot of pressure, known for having a great chin, walking guys down. And really, he was seen as a formidable world-class fighter by a lot of smart boxing people until he lost to Fonfara. After he lost to Fonfara, the mystique and the allure of Chavez was gone. He was doing all right against Daniel Jacobs. People forget that until he wasn't. And the question with Chavez has always been motivations for Chavez Jr. There was the Sergio Martinez fight where they did the pay-per-view fight, and he was training in his living room, and it just didn't look great, right? And there's always been questions about desires and motivations, etc. I have a funny feeling for this fight. When guys get to the end of their career, they tend to have the best night of their career in these moments. They tend to put together the best moments of their career to face adversities in these moments. Now, I don't think Chavez Jr. is going to beat Jake Paul. I think Chavez might do something he hasn't done in his career, which would be like fight back from adversity, win a round after a tough round. I think he's going to show a level of machismo and toughness that we haven't seen traditionally throughout his career, or that people have harshly criticized really for the last 8 or 9 years. They've really been critical of Chavez. He was getting close to being one of those big names a while ago in the sport, and then his star has really flamed out. Paul emerged really about 6 or 7 years ago as a guy, and now is becoming one of the most impactful people in boxing. For me, Jake is more than likely going to drop Chavez, but I think this is actually going to be a real fight. And I think the big takeaway for me is Jake Paul is a real fighter. Jake Paul is taking now a traditional boxing path, taking on credible opponents, and he is going to win a vacant world title at some point. And I understand that casual fight fans to hardcore fight fans don't like the idea of it, but it's just the simple business of the sport. Is at some point, Jake Paul will hold a title, and he's as good as some of these prospects that are emerging. And I think this is going to be a compelling fight because even though Chavez Jr. has had personal issues, troubles, etc., I don't think he wants to lose to a Jake Paul, even though he lost to Anderson Silva in the past. And I think that he's going to lay it on the line. And I think this is going to be a sneaky, really fun fight for hardcore fight fans.